Released in 2017, Sonic Mania from the get-go has been heralded as one of the most critically acclaimed Sonic games ever made, and it's not even made by Sonic Team, rather by passionate fans who formed their own development team to make, for all intents and purposes, the real Sonic 4. You can tell from the get-go this is something special, with both a beautifully animated intro and the entire game having the familiar 16-bit-esque Mega Drive presentation. I'm going to be covering Sonic Mania Plus, which is the game along with the DLC, of which I'll cover after the main game. Also, I usually like to keep this to the end till you've watched it, but apparently YouTube likes it when you do it at the start, because I'm trying to actually make videos more frequently and, you know, maybe do this as a career. If you like the video, please like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe and share the video with a friend if you feel like they'll enjoy this kind of content. So here we go. We kick off with a tiny cameo from Angel Island Zone, coming across Eggman and these new robots that serve as the primary enemies in the game, the hard-boiled heavies. They seem to be messing around with a new jewel, the Phantom Ruby, which seems to specialise in warping space, taking us back to Green Hill Zone. Just like with the visuals, the controls and physics line up pretty much one-to-one with the classic games. All of the shields with their abilities make their return, and Sonic has a new move of his own, the Drop Dash. If you hold the jump button in midair, you can charge a spin dash for the moment he hits the ground, and this has gone on to become a staple in his moveset for later games in the franchise and in fan games as well. Admittedly, Act 1 of Green Hill is pretty by the numbers, however Act 2 shakes things up considerably, taking place in a lower section never seen before. Checkpoint minigames make their return, and we're getting blue balls, baby. Along with special stage rings hidden inside levels. This time you're required to catch up to a machine holding a Chaos Emerald in this very charming Sonic R-styled low-poly 3D space, and I reckon it's the best special stage in the series to date, collecting the aforementioned blue balls to up your speed and rings to increase the timer. It's time for Chemical Clan, and I was originally going to state that we got so close to that figure 8 animation that I love from Sonic CD, but it turns out you can get the super peel out as an unlockable action!
I love this. This is what I live for! I'm absolutely crazy about it!
I do need to gush a bit about Act 2 of Chemical Plant. It's one of my favourites in the whole game, and I don't feel like it gets the love it deserves. The dreaded Purple Water TM has been swapped for goof that can change properties, making for excellent level exploration. Not only is it fun, especially with the bouncy green goo, but there's loads of rings for special stages, and if you know what you're doing, you can get your super form from this early in. I've done it before, but I haven't played this game in years, and I don't remember all the locations. But maybe real sad. And to top it off, the end boss is Puyo Puyo against Eggman. What's Puyo Puyo? Well, they changed one of the Puyo Puyo games into a Sonic game. None other than Mean Bean Machine, baby. It's Tetris, but instead of blocks, ooh, boring. It's Fun Blob, fellas. Goated! Next up, we've got the first completely original level in Mania, Studiopolis Zone, and simply put, it's fantastic. To be honest, my biggest and, well, one of my only critiques is the small amount of original zones, but from what I've gathered, the game was only allowed to be made on the condition that old zones make a return. Plus, the dev team managed to create fun twists to the existing levels, so it's more than worth it in my opinion. It's just a shame that Papi Iizuka thinks if the same 4 zones, you know which ones, don't come back in every game, our life support will be switched off. Don't mess with us, Sonic fans, we have orders. I did manage to get Supersonic by the 3rd zone at least, and the fact that this boss ends with the little static noise being a reference to the tech issue from an old Sonic event is really funny to me. All they need is that guy from the Crush 40 concert mumble singing Sonic Heroes, and that would be it. The perfect Sonic experience. I know that I've already declared my love for the elemental shields, but something that really impressed me is their interactions with the environment. Sure, it protects from fire and nulls drowning in water for the respective shields in the classics, but I'd say the earliest example of the evolved interactions is probably Flying Battery. The electric shield reacting to the magnets that pull the spike chains, allowing for new ways of platforming. I'm happy to report that the theme is still a bop and still makes me think of Bad Romance. I see you, Gaga, you Sonic head. The boss, on the other hand, is a bit of a letdown though. It's Eggman in this spider mech, and you need to use these pillars to bounce him into spikes on the other side. It's one of the slower fights and can feel a bit inconsistent at times in terms of when he'll get hit into set spikes. Not bad, but it's definitely the weakest fight so far. We've got another original zone, Press Garden, this autumny-esque paper factory which feels real inventive, with the destruction of the Act 1 boss giving way to a stunning wintry Act 2. Also, the facial expressions when characters get frozen bring me so much joy. Look at their dumb faces. The zone ending against the Shinobi robot is a real fun fight, referencing the Sega game with the same name. We walked through time next, ending up in Stardust Speedway, and I can imagine they had a tough time deciding on which iteration of the level to use, since CD famously uses the time travel mechanic to have 3 different layouts for past, present and future respectively. Mania addresses this very cleverly by having the first act take place in the past, and then warping to the future in the second, ending with, you guessed it, Metal Sonic. This fight actually received a major overhaul. It always featured the classic CD race followed by bouncing mini Silver Sonics back into him. Originally, at the end you were chased by a spike wall and had to attack Metal with him occasionally attacking back. However, now the Phantom Ruby is used to shift him into Metal Sonic Kai from, I believe, Knuckles Chaotix. First I've seen of it until researching, to be honest. I've never played that game, but rolling or jumping onto the core in his chest results in a win. Next is, it's Hydro City. I'm tired of the bit. It's a watery ruined city. It's Hydro City. Okay? Thank you. It has a real fun Act 1 boss. In a twist, you take control of one of Eggman's machines and suck him into the fan to win. Not challenging at all, but a very fun and novel concept. Poor Knuckles, he joins a Mirage Saloon for all of 2 seconds before getting murked, with Sonic and Tails continuing on in this auto-scroller section. And whilst I don't have any particular feelings towards Act 1, Act 2 really steps it up, being inspired by a cut level idea from Sonic 2, I believe, with the Heavy Magician capping it off by turning into Fang, Bean and Bark for the boss fight. Characters that haven't been seen since the 90s in any meaningful way, some very cool callbacks there. Once again, the creativity of shields interacting with terrain is shown in Oil Ocean, with the fire, well, setting fire to the oil. Lava Reef is just a good-ass level, and I always forget that Metal Madness is in this game. In my head, it's always Wacky Workbench, I don't know why. Changing from the foreground to background and these shrinking sections are just neat along with the boss. It's a capsule machine with tiny versions of Sonic 1 and 2's first boss and little Amy robots. Onto the final level, Titanic Monarch Zone, and yeah, it's pretty tricky to navigate, obviously that's the point, it is the last level, but it kinda goes on a tad too long for its own good in my opinion, Act 2 being particularly guilty of this. The final boss, quote unquote, is alright, having to strike when his shield is down, avoiding these grabby hands, which is a nightmare by the way, that bring you to quick rematches with the hard-boiled heavies. If you've obtained all Chaos Emeralds with Sonic, the final boss is completely unique. The battle's set in this purple void, an area devoid of anything. A null space, you could even say. Together! Sonic turns super and takes on the Heavy King and Eggman at once, with them fighting over the Phantom Ruby, complete with this banger of a track that features a soon-to-be familiar leitmotif. And with that, the Chaos Emeralds react to the Phantom Ruby, seeming to warp Sonic to parts briefly unknown, ending the story of Sonic Mania, an absolutely astounding return to form for classic Sonic gameplay. As eccentric, to put it nicely, as the Sonic fanbase can be, they do make some genuinely phenomenal game experiences, and Mania is proof of that on an official capacity, but this isn't quite all there is to it. Like in earlier classic games before it, you can choose different characters to play as for different save files, with them having unique abilities to make certain aspects of exploration their own, or easier in Tails' case, continuing to serve as the sort of easy mode for the game with his flight and swimming. While Sonic and Tails are pretty much the same in terms of the levels they go through, Knuckles' story feels a little bit different, with a new cutscene kicking off the adventure of him just chilling in Angel Island and being rudely interrupted by the heavies, resulting in him starting off in a new area of Green Hill Zone. An added feature that I love is that we get to see where Knuckles ends up after being shoved off the plane in Mirage Saloon Zone, with his Act 1 being entirely original. He even has his own remix of the Act 1's theme, which I reckon is way better than the original, to be honest, and a new variation on the boss. Honestly, I wish he had more stuff like this. The routes exclusive to him are great, don't get me wrong, but his own levels would add that much more on the replayability factor in my view. Lava Reef Act 2 has some stuff just for Knuckles as well. Instead of the heavy on the Beetle robot fight, Knuckles takes a lower route and stops the machines from getting the Master Emerald. It's kind of like a mini version of his final boss from Sonic 3K, and also his little thought bubble doodles give me life. I love it when Knuckles is tough, but also silly. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I'd be covering Sonic Mania Plus, and along with some other general enhancements, Plus was the reintroduction of two obscure, newly playable characters, Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel, and both from the Sega Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game, which I believe was the second Sonic game after the original, but I might be wrong on that, I'm not sure. The former is about as fast as Sonic or Tails, I'd say, although he's more durable, being able to take a hit from spikes for free first before losing any rings, and has this ground pound-esque ability which can help to lower hidden item boxes, find new routes and take down enemies. If I had to sum him up, I'd class him as a medium between Sonic and Knuckles, having the speed of Sonic and obviously some of the power of Knuckles. And the latter, Ray, is more flight-focused, having the same running speed as Mighty, and therefore Sonic and Tails by extension, but he plays very akin to Mario with the Cape Feather power-up in Super Mario World, having to manage the glide by descending to rise up a large amount. He can also cancel out of this into a ball, so to me he acts as a middle ground between Sonic and Tails. Out of the two, I definitely prefer him, plus his animations are more charming in my opinion. Look at his stage clear clothes, I love this little guy. If I had to order my favourite to least favourite to play as, I'd have Ray as the best, then Sonic, Mighty, Tails, and then Knuckles, although they're all a lot of fun to play in their own ways. The other big addition alongside Mighty and Ray is Encore Mode, which seems to take place after the main events of Mania Mode, and finally, a certain level receives some love that was only seen for a brief moment in the main game, a fully playable Angel Island zone. Granted, it's smaller than the rest of the zones in Mania, but as my favourite of the starting zones in the classic lineup, this made me very happy. At the end of the level, you're given the choice of saving Mighty or Ray, whoever you don't pick being revealed to be the Heavy Magician in disguise, before Encore Mode properly starts at a remixed Green Hill. This mode takes the concept of a Sonic and Tails playthrough to its logical conclusion. Instead of having a traditional live system, you have the rest of the cast as reserves, being switched to one where you'd normally lose a life. I love the idea, and I think it should be a staple for any classic-style game with multiple playable characters going forward. Encore's also separated by not only having greatly altered visuals, as an example Green Hill now takes place at sunset, the level design has changed substantially. That and the special stages are a lot harder than in Mania Mode, like, a lot harder. The final Chaos Emerald being particularly tricky for me. It took more tries for me than I'd like to admit to get it. They've changed up the checkpoint minigame as well. This time it's pinball for shields and rings in the same charming low-poly 3D that the special stages are styled in. Going back to the new visuals, Mirage Saloon at night is a standout. It's very pretty, and thank God they used a variation of Knuckles' Act 1 instead of the plain auto-scroller. It's way more enjoyable. I really like Oil Ocean in the daytime too. The contrast of the clear air is super unique to any time it's been seen prior. Oh, and the green of the final boss looks snazzy. It's a bit of a shame that there's no variation on the Supersonic final boss, but that aside, I'm of the opinion that Encore mode does enough to stand out on its own as a more challenging but fun experience. Classic or otherwise, Sonic Mania is just one of the best Sonic games and platformers ever made, period. But about 8 years on, 8 years, Jesus Christ, the context of the game's release can be forgotten at times. It was tied as a sort of sister game to the next game I'm going to be looking at, Sonic Forces. Oh dear. And if you want to see me cover that video, then yeah, again, please like the video and this video and subscribe to see the next one. The next video is going to be Sonic Forces, but I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.